Hey, Church on the Hill friends, happy Friday. I know typically we give you some announcement about events, but I'd like to take this opportunity to do this. I want to coach us through two spiritual things. Now, you can find the men's event below and the women's event below. There's a men's basketball night at the Warriors and a women's movie night. Like, you can check on that information. But let me spend the bulk of our time doing this. I want to coach you through these two spiritual moments. And for those of you that have been praying for our middle school camp that happened last weekend, you've been praying for leaders and students, I want to tell you this. They had an amazing week. They weren't just safe, but 13 of the students that went, 8 of them made some kind of decision for Christ, either to become a Christian or they, as a Christian, identified a next step in their walk with God that they wanted to show Him devotion or commit to. Now, granted, they had a great time in the snow and on this bucking bull and, inner tube riding down hills. Like, they had a fantastic time. But I want you to know this, a deep spiritual impact was made on them. So, because of that, before we hang up, would you just offer a prayer of thanks to God? Keep praying for these students, but just thank Him for the work that He's doing in their hearts. Last week, we began with this question: to Lent or not to Lent? Now listen, when I was in high school, I started a new church. I had no idea what Lent was, but when I went to this new church, Lent was like a regular part of their annual rhythm. Now, let me be super clear. It's not complicated. It's just the 40 days before Easter. And Lent is that season where 3 things are practiced. Here it is, almsgiving. Now, that might not sound familiar to you. It's giving someone a gift out of mercy for them. The second is just prayer, setting up intentional time to pray more often. The third is fasting, and specifically, it's fasting from food. Now, for some people, they might fast from a particular item of food, like chocolate or alcohol or something. Other people, it's like they'll go from dinner to dinner and won't eat during that time. Or maybe it's a 24-hour fast or just fasting from lunch. It's doing that for the purpose of creating more space so that we can take the time we were eating to actually focus on God and spend time with Him. So that's what Lent is. I guess the question I have for you is this: are you engaged in it? Listen, Lent is not in the Bible, but Lent is this scaffolding that we create so that we can focus on what we find in Matthew chapter 6. You can read it for yourselves. All 3 of those practices, almsgiving, prayer, and fasting, are all in there, and they all have rewards from God when we participate in it. But this is what Jesus makes clear there. He says this: make sure you do it in secret, meaning let it be private. But here's the danger. He doesn't say you can't talk about it. What he says is just be aware, don't brag about it or draw recognition to yourself on it. See, when it's private, we don't talk about it, which means this: we can easily just not do it and not participate, and no one will know. In fact, we can even almost pretend like we're engaged in it. Can I invite you to do this? Would you do those 3 things in these 40 days? Look for opportunities to show mercy to people, particularly if it's financial. Put an event on your calendar every day that might just be 5, 10, 15 minutes to pray and talk to God. And would you pick something that you'll fast from? Maybe it's a whole meal or a couple meals, or maybe it's one particular item that you have on a regular basis. But would you do this? Show this secret devotion to God so that you might spend time with Him, hunger for Him. And we're going to do this as preparation for Easter, and we'll talk about it for the Sundays to come. This Sunday is about almsgiving, so we'll clarify what that is and how to do that. And I think it's going to prepare our hearts to really, truly celebrate Easter, the resurrection of Jesus Christ, in a really special way. That's what I wanted to coach you through, and I hope you'll join us for the next step in this Sunday morning. Hey, God bless you.